Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to understanding the most fascinating topics. Today, we're plunging into something pretty mind-blowing from Formula One. Imagine a Grand Prix car hitting nearly 400 kilometers per hour.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the future Mercedes is apparently hinting at for 2026. It sounds, well, almost like a video game number.
It absolutely does sound like science fiction, doesn't it? But what's really fascinating here is that the engineering changes,
Hmm.
the ones slated for 2026 that we've been hearing so much about,
Hmm.
they could genuinely push F1 cars into totally unprecedented speed territories. So our mission today is to really dive into these bold claims. Let's look at the tech behind it, the history too, and figure out if this speed is actually on the horizon.
Absolutely. And we're basing this on some interesting reports, insights from F1 blogs, some video analysis, and crucially, words directly from Mercedes boss Toto Wolff himself. So let's unpack it. Are we really about to see F1 cars crack 400-kilometer? And I guess, what does that even mean for the sport? Okay, let's start with the source of the claim. Toto Wolff. He's made quite a statement, hasn't he?
He certainly has. Not one to mince words, usually.
He's claiming their simulations show the 2026 cars will be brushing against 400-kilometer top speed.
Brushing against it. It's a staggering figure.
It really is, especially when you hear the flip side. These same cars are expected to be slower over a whole lap.
Yeah, anywhere from half a second to maybe 2 seconds slower than the 2025 cars.
And that's mainly down to slower cornering speeds, right?
That's what they're saying, yeah. Which
Yeah.
immediately creates this paradox.
How can it be slower overall but faster down the straights?
Exactly. Wolff does clarify it, though. He says that 400 number would be a peak speed achievable only when all electric power is delivered.
Ah, okay, so it's not constant.
Not at all. It's a burst. And we've already got some early feedback backing up the acceleration part. Remember Felipe Drugovich testing the Aston Martin simulator?
Oh, yeah. What does he say?
He said it accelerates like crazy out of corners. You feel like you're in a rocket.
Wow, like a rocket. Okay.
So that points to a really different kind of power delivery, a whole new feel.
Right, so it's not sustained speed, but this massive, explosive peak under very specific conditions. That makes a bit more sense. So, okay, let's get into the how. What are the key technical bits Mercedes thinks make this possible? What's the blueprint?
Well, the sources seem to point to three main areas, three big technical shifts that all work together.
Okay, lay them out for us. What's number one?
First, and this one's pretty dramatic, it's the electric motor.
Right, the hybrid part.
Yeah, the new regs mean the electric power unit is basically going to triple its output compared to now to 2025.
Triple. That's huge.
It's a massive jump. Not just a small boost. We're talking way more torque, much faster acceleration coming out of the corners. Think about it like this. Maybe a current car takes 50 meters to hit 100 kilometer.
Okay.
The 2026 car might do it in, say, 20 meters. Just fires out of the corner.
So it gets up to speed much, much quicker.
Exactly. Which means it has more of the straight left to keep accelerating towards that ultimate top speed.
But that electric power, that triple output, it can't just be on all the time, right? There has to be a catch.
You're absolutely right. And Wolff mentioned this. That 400-kilometer rate happens while that electric power is fully deployed.
So when it runs out.
Once the battery is depleted for that burst or the motor hits its limit for that moment, the power drops off significantly. You're back closer to just the combustion engine power.
Which makes those extreme speeds impossible to maintain.
Precisely. So it becomes this strategic thing, doesn't it? Do you go for glory in qualifying, use that full burst?
Full fuel, fresh tires, maybe get a tow.
Yeah, go for the headline speed. Or do you need to manage that energy carefully during the race? Because sustained high speed won't be possible like that.
It changes the whole game of energy management.
Fundamentally, we'll probably see those absolute peak speeds, mostly in quali. Like you said, it's all about that perfect moment of deployment.
Okay, that makes sense. Powerful, but finite. What's the second factor?
Second big one is aerodynamics. The whole philosophy for 2026 is heavily focused on energy management, and reducing drag is a massive part of that.
Right, I read about this X mode or Z mode.
Yeah, that's the term being thrown around. It's basically a really sophisticated active aero system.
Active aero, meaning parts move.
Exactly. Both the front and rear wings will be able to flatten out on the straights.
Oh, front and rear, so it's like DRS.
Kind of like the DRS, yeah, the drag reduction system we have now on the rear wing.
But way more effective.
Significantly more impactful because it involves both ends of the car. It just dramatically cuts through the air resistance, lets the car slice through the air much more easily.
That sounds incredibly complex,
Oh.
but also potentially amazing for racing.
That's the idea. You want max downforce in the corners, obviously, for grip.
Sure.
But then, bang, on the straight, the car changes shape, minimizing drag. It's like taking that super low drag setup you see at Monza, the Temple of Speed, and applying that kind of thinking to basically every straight on the calendar.
Wow. So the car adapts to the track section.
Dynamically, mid-lap. It's going to be a real game changer for how the cars behave and how drivers attack the track.
Okay, electric power, crazy active aero. What's the third piece?
The third piece is weight. These new cars are expected to be lighter.
Ah, the classic formula for speed. Less weight.
Always helps. Less weight with the same or even more power just gives you a better power-to-weight ratio.
Which helps acceleration, top speed.
Everything, really. Agility, tire wear, braking. It's all connected. It's part of redefining how the car handles overall.
So if you combine all three, that huge electric kick, the shape-shifting aero, and less weight, what does that actually feel like? How does it change the driving?
It means the whole way F1 cars build and use speed is shifting. You could hit your peak speed much earlier on the straight, maybe even mid-straight.
Before you even need to think about braking or energy recovery.
Potentially, yeah, or before the electric boost tails off. So you get this massive initial acceleration at an incredible top speed, and then you enter this phase of managing energy, maybe lift and coast.
Before deploying power again. A whole new rhythm.
A completely new rhythm to driving an F1 car on the limit. It pushes the boundaries across the entire straight, not just at the very end.
That's a fascinating picture of 2026, but let's look back for a second. How does this stack up against F1 history? Have we ever seen speeds like this before?
Well, F1's always chase speed. The official record in a Grand Prix session is 378 kilometers per hour.
That was Bottas, right? Baku.
Yeah, Valtteri Bottas, Mercedes, 2016 in Azerbaijan. Baku's got that massive straight. But that was a different generation of car. Smaller, less inherent drag than the more recent ones.
Sure, but still fast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and you see other high speeds, usually at places like Mexico City. The altitude helps there. Thinner air.
Less resistance.
Exactly. And Monza, of course. Think back to the V10 era. Montoya hit, what, 372.6 in a test in 2005?
And Raikkonen around 370 also in 05?
Yeah, those V10s screamed. Even more recently, Maldonado, Vettel in Mexico, they've all been nudging those high 360s, low 370s.
So those tracks, Baku, Mexico, Monza, seem like the prime candidates for hitting 400 QPH in 26.
Absolutely. If it's going to happen anywhere in an official session, it'll likely be at one of those three.
Okay, so F1's been knocking on the door of the high 370s. 400 is still a big jump, and it sounds like it could even eclipse records from other series.
That's a really interesting point. Think about the Indy 500. The record there, set way back in '96 by Arie Luyendyk in practice.
How fast was that?
385 kilometers per hour.
Roughly. So if F1 actually hits 400?
They'd blow past that long-standing Indy record, which is, well, quite a statement about the engineering potential here.
Yeah.
It would really mark F1 out as the absolute peak of circuit racing speed.
But there was that one time F1 really went for it outside of a race weekend. That Honda project.
Ah, yes, the Bonneville attempt back in 2006. That's a great story.
Using their 2005 car, right? On the salt flats?
Yeah, the RE106. It was an official FIA-sanctioned record attempt.
Right.
The goal, 400 kilometers per hour.
And the driver was Alan van der Merwe.
The very same guy who drove the F1 medical car for years. He was behind the wheel.
Now, you'd think F1 car, massive flat Salt Lake, easy peasy for top speed, right?
Ah, you would think. But apparently, it was anything but straightforward. Van der Merwe talk about huge challenges.
Like what?
Well, F1 cars, even with wings trimmed or removed, have this aerodynamic limit. They can generate lift. Plus, the salt surface itself.
Not much grip.
Terrible traction. He said the car was wheel spinning constantly. The ECU, the car's brain, kept getting confused, couldn't figure out how to put the power down. And imagine being out there, flat white desert, stretching forever, no visual references. He said it was incredibly disorienting at those speeds.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, feeling the air trying to rip your helmet off, engine screaming at the limiter, but having no real sense of how fast you're actually moving visually. It shows hitting these speeds isn't just about raw power.
So did they make it? After all that, did they hit the magic 400?
Well, depends how you measure it. In a separate, unofficial test, I think of the Mojave Desert, they supposedly clocked an incredible 413 kilometer hour.
Oh.
But for the official FIA record at Bonneville, which needs an average over 2 runs in opposite directions,
The official number was
397.360 kilometers per hour.
agonizingly close.
So close. But crucially, remember, that car was heavily modified. It was a 2-year project just for that speed run, not a car ready for Grand Prix.
Right, different beast entirely.
Exactly. So the idea that the 2026 race cars could potentially do this in race conditions, that's what's truly remarkable about this prediction. It highlights the scale of the proposed leap.
That story really puts it in perspective.
Okay, let's bring it back to the future then. What does all this mean? These potentially crazy high speeds. What are the implications for F1 for us watching?
Well, sticking back, you immediately think about safety, don't you?
Absolutely. 400 kilometers is serious speed.
Pushing past that barrier introduces new risks. Think about tracks like Jeddah or Vegas. Long straights, sometimes tricky conditions, maybe cold tires.
Yeah, the consequences of anything going wrong are huge.
Immense. The forces involved are staggering. Safety is always priority number one for the FIA and the teams, but managing these speeds safely will be a massive challenge. It'll need new thinking on car safety structures, track design, barrier tech, everything.
And it makes you think about F1's identity too, doesn't it? It's all about straight line speed? Or is it that mix of cornering, braking, driver skill, the whole package?
That's a really important philosophical point, because the reality seems to be that these higher straight line speeds are kind of a trade-off.
A compensation for what are expected to be slower cornering speeds.
Yeah.
The 26 cars are meant to have less downforce overall, smaller tires.
So they'll be trickier, slower through the bends.
That's the prediction. So you get this explosive acceleration and massive top speed on the straights, but then a different kind of challenge in the corners. Drivers will really have to hustle the car.
So it shifts where the skill lies, maybe. Less about pure cornering grip, more about managing that energy, nailing the straight line deployment.
It could well shift the emphasis, yes. Making the most of those bursts, being efficient.
What about the actual racing, the spectacle? Does faster on the straights mean more overtaking?
That seems to be a key aim of these rules, especially with the active aero.
The X or Z mode thing.
Exactly. If you can follow another car reasonably well through a corner and then dramatically cut your drag on the straight that follows,
You should have a much better chance of making a pass.
that's the theory. More dynamic racing, more strategic options with energy deployment and aero modes. It can make for more exciting battles and maybe less reliance on just DRS zones. For you watching, it could mean more visually stunning speed and perhaps more unpredictable racing.
Okay, so wrapping up, what we're really looking at for 2026 is a Formula One that sounds fundamentally different.
It really does.
Spectacular traction, this revolutionary active aero, potentially record-breaking top speeds. It sounds like a thrilling, maybe slightly terrifying, new chapter.
It's definitely a bold vision.
What a deep dive that was, from TOTO WOLFF's bombshell prediction through the engineering nuts and bolts, the electric power, the low drag aero, the lighter weight, and looking back at F1's history chasing speed, it's clear 2026 could really shake things up.
Absolutely. We've seen how technology and regulations might just push F1 past its current limits, maybe even past records from other top series. But it's also creating this whole new puzzle for drivers and engineers to solve, balancing that insane straight line speed with cornering performance and, critically, energy management.
So here's something to think about as you look towards the 2026 season. If F1 cars do hit 400 kilometers per hour, what does that shift potentially away from pure cornering dominance towards this explosive straight line power mean for the sport? How does it change the balance of driver skill versus car performance? What about track design? And where does motorsport go next? How will F1 keep evolving? Lots to ponder there. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep exploring.